We all walk around with certain assumptions about the world, don't we? If we're hungry, we assume there's food we can eat. If we're tired, we assume rest will restore us. If we see a table, we assume it's really there and that it's solid, unchanging. But what if all these assumptions, the ones we rely on so heavily, aren't as trustworthy as we think? What if they are the very source of much of our suffering? Today, we're exploring a concept that challenges our deepest assumptions, one that comes from ancient Buddhist teachings. It's an idea that could fundamentally shift the way we understand the world and ourselves, that the source of our suffering may lie not in the world itself, but in the beliefs and assumptions we hold about it. This idea comes from the teachings of Genla Dekayong, a well-respected Buddhist teacher, who shares a powerful story to illustrate just how much our beliefs shape our reality. The story is about a man who experiences a dramatic change in fortune, and how all of this is connected to something he believes about his health. Imagine a perfectly normal day for this man. He wakes up, goes about his routine, but suddenly, without warning, he starts experiencing sharp, intense stomach pains. The pain is unlike anything he's felt before, and it's enough to send him rushing to the doctor. After tests and scans, the doctor delivers news that will change his life. You have cancer. At first, he's in shock, but the reality sets in. He believes the doctor. And with that belief, something profound happens. The weight of the diagnosis begins to settle in, not just in his body, but in his mind. Waves of fear, worry, and anxiety begin to engulf him. His thoughts spiral out of control, imagining the worst possible outcome. He goes home, shares the news with his family, and the entire household is plunged into despair. Every moment is now shadowed by fear, every day clouded with the knowledge, or rather, the belief that he is dying. His body feels worse, the pain seems to intensify, and his life feels like it's on a countdown to an inevitable end. The whole family suffers because of this shared belief in the man's diagnosis. But then, the twist. Someone suggests that the man seek a second opinion, to visit a different doctor, one who is more qualified. Reluctantly, he agrees. The new doctor performs her own examination, reviews the tests, and delivers some completely unexpected news. There is absolutely no cancer here. You are perfectly healthy. There's nothing wrong with you. The man is stunned. He can hardly believe it. And just like that, everything changes. His fear vanishes. The dark cloud that hung over him and his family disappears. The weight he had been carrying around lifts, and the joy that follows is almost immediate. His body begins to feel lighter, the pain recedes, and his life is no longer dictated by the belief that he was going to die. So, what's the point of this story? Is it just about a medical misdiagnosis? Genla Dekayong urges us to look deeper. The story illustrates something profound. It's not about the reality of the cancer itself, but about what the man believed to be true. His suffering came from his belief in the diagnosis. The moment his belief changed, his suffering ended. The source of the pain wasn't in his body. It was in his mind, shaped by the belief that he was ill. This insight is more than just a commentary on medical misdiagnoses. It's a powerful lesson about the way our beliefs shape our experiences. The man's life was transformed by a belief. When he believed he was sick, he suffered. When he believed he was healthy, the suffering disappeared. It wasn't the external reality that changed his physical condition. Stayed the same, it was his belief that changed, and with it, his experience of reality. Now, let's take this a step further. In Buddhist philosophy, there is a fundamental belief that we carry around with us, often without realizing it. It's the belief that the self we think of as ours, exists independently, permanently, and inherently. This belief, says Genla Dekayong, is the root cause of much of our suffering. Just like the man who believed he had cancer, we often believe that our sense of self is solid, unchanging, and independent. But here's where things get interesting. According to Buddhist teachings, the self we think of as me does not actually exist in the way we believe it does. There is no inherently existing self. The idea of an independent, permanent I is an illusion. It is a belief we have held for lifetimes, and it is this very belief that leads to pain, anxiety, and unhappiness. This is what Buddhists call self-grasping ignorance. It's the mistaken belief that there is a permanent self, separate from everything else, that causes us to grasp at things, hold on to them, and create suffering for ourselves. Our attachment to this false self, our fear of losing it, and our desire to protect it are the root causes of much of our emotional and mental distress. But here's the hopeful part of the story. Just as the man was freed from his suffering when he learned the truth about his health, we, too, can be freed from our suffering by realizing the truth about the self. The wisdom of emptiness or selflessness teaches that there is no independent, permanent self. The I we think we are is not inherently real. It is empty of independent existence. This realization can free us from suffering, just as the man was freed from his suffering when he discovered that his belief in cancer was unfounded. By meditating on and contemplating this teaching, we can begin to loosen our attachment to the false self and open ourselves to a more liberated, peaceful way of being. Now, I understand that this can be a difficult concept to grasp. It's not easy to let go of the belief that there is a solid, permanent self. But Genla Dekayong encourages us to contemplate this idea deeply, to examine the ways in which our beliefs shape our experiences. Just as the man's suffering vanished when he realized that he did not have cancer, our suffering can also vanish when we realize that the self we cling to is not real. The key takeaway here is that it is our beliefs that cause our suffering. Our belief in a solid, independent self, for example, is the source of much of our pain. And just like the man who believed he had cancer, we can alleviate our suffering by changing our beliefs. When we let go of the idea of an inherently existing self, we begin to experience the world and ourselves in a completely new way. It's a journey, a deep, challenging journey. But if our beliefs are the source of our suffering, doesn't it make sense to try to change them? To shift our perspective and find a more accurate perception of reality. If the world is shaped by our beliefs, then changing our beliefs can change the world we experience. So the next time you find yourself struggling with fear, anxiety, or dissatisfaction, take a moment to question the beliefs you're holding onto. What are you believing about yourself? About the world? And are those beliefs helping you, or are they creating more suffering? It's not an easy path, but it's a worthwhile one. Because when we begin to see through the illusion of the solid, independent self, we can start to live with greater peace, freedom, and joy. And in the end, that's the reality we're all searching for.